Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rajinder Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Shivaji College, Delhi University. In this module, we will discuss about organizational communication. Outline of this module is learning objectives, introduction, concept, elements or process of communication, nature of communication, importance of communication, objectives of communication, formal communication and summary. Now, objectives of these modules are to develop conceptual understanding of organizational communication, to understand nature, importance and objectives of organizational communication. Now, first of all, the introduction. Word communication has been derived from the Latin word communis, means commons. Simply stated, it is a process of conveying the message by the sender to the receiver in an understandable form. Communication is very important for the organizations and the society in general. Functioning of the organizations is not possible without effective communication. Thus, various forms of communication like formal, informal, downwards, upwards, etc. exist in the organization. Emphasis of the organization is on making the communication effective and beneficial for itself. Communication is an important part of managerial functions. All the managerial functions like planning, organizing, directing and controlling require a good communication quality on part of the manager. Plans are to be communicated to the subordinates very clearly so that the efforts towards their achievement are in right directions. Without communication skill, the manager will not be able to motivate the subordinates. Apart from this, communication is also important quality of a good leader. Controlling requires communicating the goals to be achieved and then after comparing the results with the objectives, feedback is to be communicated to the achievers. Thus, a manager spends majority of his time while communicating with his subordinates, superiors and other colleagues. Now we will discuss the concept of organizational communication. According to Alan Lewis, communication is the sum of all the things one person does when he wants to create understanding in the minds of another. It involves a systematic and continuous process of telling, listening and understanding. George Terry defined communication as an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions or emotions by two or more persons. Communication is thus a two-way process. It starts with sending the message by the sender to the receiver and completes with receiving back the feedback from the receiver of the message. Next is elements or process of communication. The process of communication starts with the inception of idea by the sender. Idea is the message which the sender wants to convey to the receiver. Then the receiver is identified to whom the message is to be conveyed. After this, the sender encodes the message in suitable language, gesture, sign or signal and decides about the best suitable mode of communication. Then the message is sent and received by the receiver. After receiving the message, the receiver decodes and understands it and sends feedback to the sender. This process of communication is explained below in detail as elements of the communication process. First element is sender. Sender is the first of the two persons required for communication process. The sender is one who starts the communication by sending the message. A sender is anybody who sends the message with intention to make the receiver understand the message and give feedback. Second is message. Message is one of the important elements of communication process. Message is the subject matter of communication. It is the information that the sender wants to send to the receiver. It may be an idea, a feeling, an order, a report, a question, an answer or anything which the sender wants to convey. Then comes encoding. The message is encoded by the sender in a suitable manner which is understandable to the receiver. It may be written in a language, may be a gesture, may be a sign, etc. For example, a cricket umpire encodes the decisions into various signals. Then comes medium. Medium plays an important role in the process of communication. It is the mode of communication through which the message is sent to the receiver. For example, nowadays internet is a very popular medium of communication. Apart from this, telephone, post, etc. are other media of communication. Sometimes gestures and signal itself are the modes of communication. The purpose is to convey the message. Next is receiver. Receiver is the second person involved in the communication process to which the message is sent. Receiver may be an individual or a group too. For example, when a teacher is teaching in the class, all the students are receivers since the instructions being given are for the whole class. In the organization, the receiver may be a manager, subordinate, peer, customer, creator, etc. Next is decoding. After receiving the message in encoded form, the receiver has to decode it to understand the message. For example, after receiving the signal from the umpire, the scorer understands it and converts it in the score. Encoding and decoding has their own importance in the communication process because a wrongly encoded or a wrongly decoded message may defeat the whole purpose of communication, that is understanding. Next is feedback. It is the last step in this process. After the receiver has received, decoded and understood the message, feedback is given to the sender. The feedback is important to ensure that the receiver has received and understood the message in its original form and there is not any misunderstanding. The communication process is not complete without proper feedback. Feedback makes the communication a two-way process. Next, we will discuss the nature of communication. On the basis of above discussion, following features of communication process may be understood. First is communication is mutual. Communication process requires at least two people, one being the sender and other being the receiver of the message. A single person cannot initiate the process of communication. Then two-way process. As discussed above, communication starts when the sender sends the message to the receiver and it ends when, after understanding the message, the receiver gives feedback to the sender. The feedback is necessary to make sure that the receiver has received and understood the message. Without feedback, communication process is incomplete. Next is pervasive function. Communication is required at all levels and in all departments of the organization. It is impossible for the organizations to function without effective communication. Communication is required to pass on orders and directions, send reports, convey policies, etc. Then comes continuous process. Organizational communication is not a one-time activity. It is a continuous process. Functioning of the organization requires a continuous flow of information. This flow of communication may be within the organization and it may be communication with the parties outside the organizations too, like customers, suppliers, etc. Next comes the several forms. Communication is of many types. It may be formal or informal. Formal communication process is designed by the organization and channels of the formal communication are well defined, whereas informal communication originates because of the social needs of the people. Communication may be upward and downwards too. Downward communication involves orders, directions or circulars, whereas upward communication involves reports, etc. Now we will discuss about importance of communication. As discussed earlier, communication is of utmost importance to the organization's smooth functioning and existence. Communication is required at every level and for almost every activity in the organization. Right from planning to controlling, communication plays an important role. The importance of communication for the organization has been discussed as below. First is Communicating and implementing plans. Communication plays an important role in the planning. A well chalked out plan is of no use if it is not communicated well to the subordinates. Only a clearly communicated plan can be implemented in an effective manner. Communication improves the quality of planning also. Before finalizing the plans, the management may receive ideas and suggestions from the subordinates who are responsible for ultimate implementation. Communication is thus an important feature of democratic planning. Second is effective organization. The process of organization can be made better with effective communication. Clear cut instructions, well defined duties, authorities and responsibilities, and interpersonal relations are the characteristics of a good organization. For all these functions, proper communication channels are to be defined. Here, formal communication becomes more important. This communication may be upward, downward, or may be horizontal too. Then it is helpful in leadership. Effective communication skill is an essential quality of a good leader. A leader has to ensure that the followers understand his instructions, ideas and plans. It can be done only through great communication skills. Importance in motivation. Employees are to be kept motivated for the achievement of organizational goals. For this purpose, incentives for better performance and punishment for poor performance are to be communicated clearly in advance to the employees. Apart from this, motivational talks also have their own importance in boosting the morale of the employees. Then ensuring cooperation and coordination. Cooperation and coordination among individuals and groups in the organization can be improved with the help of communication. Here, both formal as well as informal communication have their own importance. Formal communication is more important for coordination, whereas informal communication is more important for ensuring cooperation. Then socialization. An organization is a group of individuals working together for the achievement of some common goals. These individuals spend a considerable amount of time together at the workplace. Thus, emergence of some social relation is inevitable and has to be accepted for smooth functioning of the organization. Informal communication plays an important role in socialization among the individuals and the groups. Then overcoming resistance. Change is something which is necessary for the growth of the organization, but sometimes it is the most difficult thing to implement because of the resistance of the employees. Communication is the best way to overcome this resistance and facilitate the change. The organization communicates the benefits of the change to the employees and assures them to compensate their loss if any because of the change. Then conflict management. The employee-employer conflicts can be resolved with the help of communication. Most of the times, talks with the trade unions at the time of conflict give better result than the attempts to suppress the opponent. Then effective controlling. Controlling is the process of setting goals, achieving results, comparing the achieved results with the preset goals, finding out deviations and taking corrective measures. Then feedback is given to the achiever and non-achievers also. About the deviations and ways of improvement are suggested. This whole process is based on communication. Goals which are set are to be clearly communicated to the subordinates well in advance so that they are able to plan their efforts accordingly. Then results achieved are received from them in the forms of reports. Deviations are found, again communicated back to the subordinates and also reported to the higher levels. Next is public relations. The organization cannot work in isolation. It is a part and parcel of the society, and communication with the stakeholders external to the organization is also of vital importance. Apart from mandatory communication like publishing annual reports, there may be other types of communication too, which is required to maintain public relations. Advertisement is also a form of communication which keeps the customers informed about the availability of the products. Apart from the above, there are other areas also where communication plays an important role. These are decision making, which involves receiving information relevant to the decision, recruitment and selection, which requires communicating the prospective employees about the job positions, job requirements and salary offered, etc. Training and development, which involves communication between the trainees and the trainer, and so on. Next is objectives of communication. Glover has precisely enlisted following objectives of communication. First is to keep employees informed of the company's progress. Employees are the constituents of the organization and they need to know about its progress. Second, to provide orders and instructions, communication is required. All the activities require this downward communication that flows from superior to subordinates. The decisions and policies are to be communicated to the employees who are responsible for their implementation. Third, communication is also required to obtain feedback information from employees. This is upward communication which is equally important for smooth running of the organization. It encourages employees' participation and also required for effective system of control. Reporting is the main form of this upward communication. Fourth, to develop among employees interest in the jobs and in the work of the company as a whole. Proper communication between the management and the employees increases the job satisfaction and the employees start liking their job. It increases their interest in their individual job and the organization as a whole. Fifth, communication is also used to express the management's interest in the employees. Two-way communication gives the employees a chance to express themselves and create a sense of importance. Sixth, communication helps in reducing the labor turnover. Communication can be used to know the reasons for labor turnover and corrective measures can be taken up to reduce the same. Sixth, to develop will to work among employees. This requires motivation and leadership. Both of these roles of a manager requires effective communication skills. Both motivation and leadership aims at influencing the behavior of the employees in such a manner that they start working willingly for the achievement of organizational goals. Last and seventh, to create among employees a personal pride in being a member of the enterprise. This is possible when a sense of belongingness and loyalty is created among the employees. This can be possible through proper and continuous communication between the employer and the employees. Management should communicate its interest in satisfaction of employees' needs and employees should be given enough chances to share their feelings, problems and views. Now we will discuss about formal communication. Formal communication passes through only the channels which are officially created for this purpose. Formal channels ensure that the information is routed to the desired destination in its actual and understandable form. Proper chains for communication are established for the flow of official information within the organization and even for the information to be exchanged with the external parties. Internal communication consists of communication between the superiors and subordinates and communication among the peers. External communication consists of communication with suppliers, creditors, investors, government, etc. Prescribed rules, regulations and norms are to be followed while communicating through formal channels. Formal communication is initiated by the persons only authorized to do so and the information reaches only to the person whom it is meant for. Formal communication may flow in any direction like upward, downwards, horizontal or even diagonal. These will be explained later in this chapter. Formal communication is the backbone of any organization. As discussed earlier, organization cannot function without communication since it is required for smooth functioning of every activity of the organization, be it planning, organizing, directing, motivation, leadership or controlling, etc. Flow of communication is the feature and need of any organization. Formal communication channels help the organization to control the flow of official information so that they are used in the desirable manner. Now, let us discuss features of formal communication. First is it follows proper chains. Formal communication follows predefined chains of command. Information can only travel through these channels. Sender and receiver of particular information are decided officially. Next is it is based on rules and norms. Certain rules and regulations are to be followed while using formal communication channels. These rules may be pertain to timings, frequency, etc. For example, management may require a storekeeper to send a weekly report regarding issue of materials to various production departments. Next is routine in nature. Formal communication is used to perform day-to-day activities of the organization. It makes it a routine activity. It is a necessity for any organization. No organization can survive without formal communication system. Next is related to operations. Formal communication is related to the operations of the organizations only. This is not to discuss the things which are not related with the activities of the business. And next is it may be written or oral. Formal communication is not necessarily in written form only. It may use any possible medium of communication, whether oral, telephonic or electronic, etc. But whatever is the medium, there should be a record of all the formal communication for future reference to fix responsibilities. Next is advantages of formal communication. First one is reliable and effective. Formal communication is most reliable form of communication, being based on rules and regulations and designed according to the requirements of the organization. It is most effective in achieving the objectives. Then secrecy. Secrecy of the important official information can be maintained in formal communication because unauthorized persons don't have the access to this information. Sender and the receivers are clearly identified and the information passes through the predefined proper channels. Then control over rumors. Spread of rumors is not possible in formal communication. Secrecy of information and closeness of communication channels restrict the access of unauthorized persons to the information. If any information originates from other than the authorized sources, it is treated as informal and is ignored as far as its applicability to the organization is concerned. Next is information is not distorted. Formal communication ensures that the message is sent, received and understood in its original form and not distorted. If the message is distorted or misunderstood, it may lead to wrong decision making. Thus, the formal communication system is designed in such a manner that the message is very clear and follows the right path to reach the receiver. Then fixation of responsibility. Formal communication is kept in record for future reference. It is easy to fix individual responsibilities in future based on this record. Then helps in delegation of authority. It is not possible to delegate authority without formal communication. Subordinate cannot exercise authority delegated by the superior informally. Moreover, authority and responsibility always go hands in hand. Responsibility can be fixed only through formal communication. Now we will discuss disadvantages of formal communication. First one is the cost. System of formal communication involves some cost to the organization. Especially the present time is the era of electronic communication. The organization has to spend a huge amount in installing the electronic equipments and appointing staff experts in its operations. Next is formal communication is slow. Formal communication is considered to be slower than the informal communication because it has to follow a pre-decided path only. To reach the information from top to bottom or bottom to top, it has to go through all the positions in between the chain if direct communication is not allowed. Thus, sometimes the information may take a longer time to reach the destination. However, with the introduction of internet-based electronic information system, this limitation has been removed to a significant extent. Then it is too mechanical. Formal communication is too mechanical in nature. Sender and the receiver interact with each other only out of the duty. Its routine nature may undermine its importance. And the last one is there is no socialization. Social needs of the employees are not satisfied with formal system of communication. As stated above, their interaction is only mechanical, not social. This limitation of formal communication leads to the emergence of informal communication and groups in the organization. Summary of the module. Communication is the process of conveying the message by the sender to the receiver in an understandable form. Functioning of the organization is not possible without effective communication. Communication is a two-way process. It starts with sending the message by the sender to the receiver and completes with receiving back the feedback from the receiver of the message. The sender encodes the message in suitable language, gesture, sign or signal and sends it to the receiver. After receiving the message, the receiver decodes and understands it and sends feedback to the sender. Communication is required at every level and for almost every activity in the organization. Right from planning to controlling, communication plays an important role. The prime objective of organizational communication is to create understanding between the sender and the receiver of the message. It is important to increase the efficiency of the organization. Formal communication passes through only the channels which are officially created for the purpose. Formal communication has advantages like reliability, secrecy, control over rumors, fixation of responsibility, etc. Apart from the above, there are other areas also where communication plays an important role. These are decision making, which involves receiving information relevant to the decision, recruitment and selection, which requires communicating the prospective employees about the job positions, job requirements and salary offered, etc. Training and development, which involves communication between the trainees and the trainer and so on. It marks the importance of communication in smooth running of all day-to-day activities of the organization. Thank you.